Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. This is probably one of the most patient and flexible human beings on the planet that I'm with. This is Shelton Lingo Smith. Lingo was supposed to be on the show yesterday because of technical difficulties and a lot of difficulties. I could not get him on here, but he was gracious enough to come back on today. We're doing a series on the TED Show, a Black History Month series. And Lingo and I are in the same industry, but he is definitely a different creature than most of the real estate professionals I know. And I just wanted him to come on and share that with you. Lingo, thanks again publicly for being patient. I appreciate you. Welcome to the show.
Most definitely. I'm glad to be on the show.
The first time I noticed you, which I don't know if I've told you that, I think is when you performed at Realtor's Got Talent.
Oh yeah, that's funny because I joined EXP that day, but I hadn't even signed up. I didn't know nobody in the room. That was the first Realtor event I ever went to, and yeah, I got on stage and
you got on stage, which I want to talk about that in a bit, but I want them to know a little bit about you. So give us a history. 411. They love the journey. They want to know how you got from point A at the beginning to sort of where you're at now. So give us kind of the Cliff's Notes version of that.
Yeah, so where I come from like a very rough side in South Carolina, Columbia, and grew up in a lot of people had that impoverished mindset, but I always knew that there was more to life. So long story short, I ended up going to the military because my mom would just leave those army pamphlets everywhere. Go there, I'm not fulfilled. It's not for me. I ended up getting married like way prematurely. That separated, started a few businesses, started up a trucking company when I was 19. And then I was like, that's not really what I want to do. I had a bad partner. Then somehow I came back to South Carolina. I was like, all right, I love music. So where should I take this? And that's what brought me to Florida. And I ended up going to Full Sail University. Then I'm like, look, you can't teach creativity. So I ended up leaving Full Sail, and I went from Full Sail, and I was like, I always wanted to fly planes. So I ended up going to aviation school. I started flying planes. I was like flying Cessna 172s and stuff like that. And it got to the point like I was so broke, I didn't have like enough money in my flight account to keep it up. So I ended up meeting this guy that wholesaled, and I was like, all right, I get in the wholesale and I make some quick money. And but long story short, he was doing it illegitimate, and I was like, man, I don't want to do it like this. So I'm like, the only way I knew how to do it right was to go and get my license. So I ended up getting my license, started since you're 21. That wasn't for me. Like, it's just the culture just wasn't there like I would have liked for it to be. And then I ended up meeting Bobby Davidowitz. Well, before I met Bobby, I spent my last $3,000 on a communication coach. I didn't even have a $3,000. Like, he was so good. Like, he made me take out a credit card right then and there, and I like paid him and changed my life forever. I met Bobby, started with EXP, and then yeah.
Big shout out to Bobby Davidowitz. He's such a great guy and such an encourager. The dad, I think, of the organization. He's an amazing human. All right, so I didn't know all of that. I knew you had to have some sort of creativity in the background, music or poetry or a combination of both. The airplane part really threw me for a loop. I did not know that. So let's talk about that at some point. But real estate, once you get in, you can have all the training you want, all the rah-rah sessions you want, but then you have to get to work. So what was that like for you? Did you have a lot of contacts already that you could go to? How did you start? Because a lot of realtors who get in, one of the first questions they ask is, how do I build up that pipeline?
Yeah, that's crazy. It's so funny. I had probably the worst spear, broke college students, right? Or like when I was in the music world, a lot of people that are like nomads, they just like traveling everywhere, getting high. And I'm like, man, these aren't the type of people that's gonna make a good spear. So yeah, I dibbled and dabbled, I did everything. So I initially on Opsity, right? Because they give you those free leads, you take that cut. And so I ended up doing 1.5 million in sales my first month in real estate. Yeah. And I was able to do that. I got 2 deals off Opsity my first month, which gave me like the momentum. And I like really leveraged like my mentor. And he was just like, yo, do open houses. It changed my career. It could work for you. And so I was like, all right, if it worked for him, it could do at least half for me. So I picked my demographic. I was like, I don't want to do nothing less than $500,000. I got really bougie really fast. Like, you know, and so, I picked a house that was like 690, and I called him. I was like, hey, my name is Lingo. Me and my team specialize in doing open houses. Is it okay if I do one for you and the seller? And she was like, I'm actually going out of town this week, and the seller would love for that to happen. And I was like, all right, cool. I get the signs. I'm ready. And I got my water. I got some chips. Went out there, and I never forget, the first day was a fluke. And I just like, I was like, I can't let this happen again. So I literally taped like my business card and like a note to like because it was a gated community, and a lot of people weren't getting in because of the gate. So I said, call me if you're interested in coming to this open house. Got flooded. I ended up asking this couple, like, would you want to put an offering on this home? They said, yeah, they had to sell their home. And so won that buy, won that listing. Then what was crazy was I ended up writing myself a winning offer, and I raised it $30,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you what I love the word bougie. What are you seeing in the market right now? What are you doing? Are you doing it differently now that you've got some experience under your belt? What are you thinking about with 2022 as far as the market and kind of how you're continuing to build your business? What are you doing?
I mean, what I see in the market is a lot of people are going to get weeded out, you know, buyers and agents, you know, just obviously because of the APR rates is rising, and then on top of it, inventory is getting so low. These newer agents or agents that aren't really about it, you're not going to survive it all. But what I continue to do is, like I said, I went through Zillow Premier, I went through, you know, open house strategy, door knocking, cold calling. But what transcended me was ads, like doing like high quality commercials, putting ad campaign money behind it, and just having people just organically hit me up. But I niched out, so I would literally get like people fall on my calendar, and I just say, hey, this is Lingo, Airbnb investment specialist. I see you interested in, you know, making some Airbnb investments, and it'll just turn to this long conversation, and it just come back.
I love it. You're building on what you already know works and tweaking it as you go, which is awesome. Talk a little bit about Airbnb is a big topic. Just give people the 411, maybe just what is one of the biggest misconceptions about Airbnb? Because we're hearing a lot about it. People have obviously used them. I've used one, but there is an entire market for getting into the Airbnb business, becoming an Airbnb owner. What's a misconception that people don't realize? I mean, I can tell you my first one, and you can address it, is that, oh my God, I would never have time to manage it. I would never be able to figure out how to handle all of those transient kind of renters.
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception is they think it's a get rich quick scheme. And it's really not. You know, truthfully, a lot of these investors barely break even. Like, and that's like the sad truth that a lot of people don't know. I didn't even know it when I started. Like, I made commercials. I'm getting like a Rolodex of investors, and I'm like, yeah, you want to make so great profits. And then but this is how I knew that there was something up with it, right? So these are obviously investment properties. So, you know, the biggest deciding factor is the numbers. So I'll call these investors up, and I'll say, not the investors, the property management companies. I say, like, hey, I want to be able to see the P&Ls so I can send over to my my interested buyer. And I'm talking about, like, they'll go cold on me. Some people just hang up, you know what I mean? Sometimes they're getting a Zoom call, they don't show up. You know, they say, oh yeah, I'm gonna send it over, never send it. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Why is this like different, man? Because not a shortage of property management companies. And I'm like, none of this is making sense. Then the ones that I would get were completely effed up. I'm like, what? Like, I'm talking about every month where the Airbnb would make $12,000 and the investor would take home like $2,000, right? And keep in mind, on a P&L, it doesn't even show the mortgage payment. It's just showing the property management fee and the other expenses. So I'm like, HOA and stuff. I'm like, what? Like, what? And so I realized, if you're going to do an Airbnb, you need to honestly treat that like a business. Like, you got to like take pride in that. Like there's a really two popular females, Julie Mar and Mava, and they run it the correct way. And the correct way is self-managing it and like creating a genuine experience and not just lobbing it off to a property management company.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, good. Because I always wondered why it seemed like there was so much opportunity there, but I think people just there was fear, and then there was also a lot of misinformation. So thank you. So you guys definitely want to reach out to Lingo if you've got Airbnb questions. Black History Month. We're doing the series on Black History Month. Do you celebrate? Have you always celebrated? And what is it to you? What does it mean to you? Does it have a special meaning? Do you think more? Are you more introspective? I love to put the personal side to something like Black History Month. So tell us what your thoughts are.
Well, honestly, since I'm Black, I can't forget it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think harder in the month of February. Honestly, I don't. Like, it's like I'm glad that we have a month, but I'm one of those people where it's like, we should celebrate it. Every day, every culture, every day. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not biased just because I'm Black. I know we went through slavery through like numerous centuries, right? But I also know that there was other tremendous I don't even know the word, travesties of other races and things like that. So I feel like we should all celebrate each other. I just like I said, I'm grateful to have the month, but I think that Asians should have a month, and Hispanics should have a month. Like just because I'm Black, like it doesn't. I don't know. I know a lot of.
I love that answer. I think it's so important. I think for those people who aren't Black, it is a great reminder to celebrate all of us. Like you're saying, everybody should have. We should celebrate all of the cultures, all the races, all the ethnicities on a regular basis. I understand the thought process behind it, but I definitely agree with you. I wish we could just celebrate all the time, like we are celebrating Black History Month. If I say the word hero to you, who's the first person that comes to mind?
Man, hero. I think probably either like Bobby or Gil, Will Smith,
Love it.
Mike Collier, Jamie Miller. I don't know.
I love Jamie. Yeah, I love all those guys. That's awesome. I think it's important to give our heroes and people we look up to a little bit of public kudos. So I will make sure Bobby and Gil get tagged in that. Jamie Miller too. All right. What's the best way they can find you, Lingo? You're amazing. I want them to go check out your creative side, your real estate side, your Airbnb side. What's the best way for them to find out more about you?
Honestly, Instagram. Yeah, honestly, Instagram.
And what is it under? Lingo Smith?
No, it's being.lingo. So being like human being, BEING .lingo, LINGO.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
We'll tag all of that. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. I've learned a lot about you today and about Airbnbs, by the way. Thanks again for being patient and flexible. I think it's awesome that you gave a shout out to Bobby and Gil. They change a lot of lives in our community, and they don't get the public kudos that they deserve. So thank you for doing that. And again, thank you for being patient with me, my friend. I appreciate it. Lingo Smith, you guys, check him out on Instagram. Check him out on that Linktree link here. Of course, I'll tag him on all social media platforms. You can reach out directly to him. All right, guys, have a great day. Lingo, thank you so much.
All right, you too.